I want to thank Best Buy for sponsoring this video. All right, Jen, we have two giant 98-inch mini LEDs in the house, and one is less than half of the price of the other. Can you tell which one it is?
Well, I can, but only because we just did the video on the Samsung over there. But I'm sure most of you probably can't tell. So why don't we talk about that?
Yeah, we'll go over both of these TVs, compare and contrast them, and we'll talk about all the other great mini LEDs in 2024 with some buying advice at the end. So stick around for that. But let's talk about the Samsung QN90D and the TCL QM8 first. So the reason we do comparisons like this is because it can get pretty complicated when you're looking at just buying advice. But if you're just here for that buying advice, go ahead and skip forward. You can find that with the chapters. But since we had both of these TVs up and we wanted to show them to you and there's smaller sizes available, we thought it'd be a great comparison. Externally speaking, there's not a whole lot different, and really it's just that the Samsung has that pedestal stand in the middle, which can be very nice if you have a smaller table, whereas the QM8 has the feet wider at the end. Both are pretty cool looks, but just differences if you're going to be putting them on stands. If you're going to be wall mounting them, both have pretty large patterns. The Samsung has a 600 by 400 millimeter pattern, which is kind of standard, whereas the QM8 has a larger 600 by 600 millimeter pattern. Still, both are going to need large TV mounts that can support a lot of weight. And lastly, the Samsung has 4 HDMI ports that can all game 4K 120, which is pretty awesome, whereas the QM8 just has 2 of those ports. But let's be honest, how many high-speed gaming consoles do you really need? And that's pretty much it for the external differences. I know you guys really care about how these TVs look. And let's first start with the operating system. So the Samsung has its own Tizen operating system, which is just for Samsung TVs. You still have YouTube and Netflix and all the different things you'd want to watch. It does have some of its own channels as well, so you can watch some of the Samsung Plus channels. I like that. And then it has a game hub where you can play games online. It also has the ambient mode. It's not exactly the same as the Samsung Frame Art mode, but it still has art that you can have the TV on when you're not using it. Meanwhile, the TCL, like the Sony TVs and like the Hisense TVs, all have the Google TV operating system, which again, you still get all of the same sort of apps and kind of a similar setup, but I feel like it's a little bit better because I can connect to YouTube TV and YouTube, and it can display things that I was watching on other devices, and I have a lot of Google TVs, so it just has all the different things that I was watching, and you can pick up where we left off on a different TV. Google TV also has an ambient mode, so if it's just on in the background, it'll default to some pictures and stuff, which is pretty cool as well. One thing the Samsung QN90D has on the operating system is the Samsung Health app, which works great with a couple of new purchases I made and I'm going to briefly talk about. If you want to skip this and see more TV comparison and buying advice, just move to the next chapter. First, the Watch Ultra. I got this watch because I'm a big fan of Samsung watches. I've had pretty much all of the different variations over time. And I got onto the Watch 5 Pro because it had like double the battery of most of the other ones. And I was extremely impressed. In fact, I was ready to buy a second one of those if they didn't come out with a new one. But this year they came out with the Galaxy Watch Ultra, which not only is as good or better as the Watch 5 Pro, but it also has this kind of like new square look to it, which I like. And you know, the orange band doesn't hurt either. Secondly, I also got the Samsung Galaxy Ring, which for me is like a whole different thing. I was interested in getting this because sometimes I can't wear my watch, like when I'm playing basketball, I can't wear the watch because people don't want to get scuffed in the face by it. And then I'm not able to track my steps in those instances, and I kind of have no understanding of the total workout I'm getting that day and kind of like how that works the whole week. So if you're into that, or if you don't wear a watch, the ring is really nice to have as well. And you should get the sizing kit because it gives you a great understanding of how big it is and how it's going to feel on your finger. It kind of felt a little weird putting it on my first finger, and apparently I have a pretty fat index finger, so it didn't really fit great. So I'm glad I did that and I was able to put it on my middle finger. So definitely if you're going to order the ring, get the sizing kit, because once you get that for $10, you get a $10 gift certificate to get the ring later. And that way you don't have to, buy a ring and then send it back because it doesn't fit and all that. So both of these links will be in the description below, so make sure you check them out. And of course, both of these work with that wearable app, so you can kind of get a lot of stats about them, change the watch faces, get different apps to come up on your watch, all kinds of cool things. I really like this watch, and you can see it says it has 2 days and 6 hours left at 50% battery life, and that's because I turned the LTE off and I also have it in power saving mode. So this sometimes lasts me like 5 to 7 days, which is really awesome, and a lot of other watches just can't compete with that. And then when it comes to the ring, that thing lasts forever, man. I mean, I've only charged it one time since I've had it, and so it's at 61%. It's probably 7 to 10 days that it works. And it's really nice too because you can use this at night if you want to take the watch off and charge it. So if you get one of the other watches that doesn't last as long, you can actually have that on the charger and the ring will take over and give you all the same stats at night that you get during the day on the actual watch. And then both of them work with the Samsung Health app as well. So you can get your, your energy score, you can get your exercise, start workouts, do all that kind of stuff. And for me, I do the step counting. So when I have the watch on, I can really see what I was doing. Like for example, last Monday, when I had my watch and my ring on, but I had to take the watch off, I ended up getting a lot of steps here when I'm doing coaching for my kids. And then I also got a bunch more steps when I was playing basketball that don't normally reflect. And so I probably had an extra 4,000 steps that wouldn't have been counted. And then you're not sure if you got enough workout and all that. So I really like to have both the ring and the watch. And I think if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the watch. But again, can't wear that in basketball. So I think this ring is awesome. So again, check those links in the description. Get yours today. It's really awesome. And they're all back in stock now. So that's pretty cool too. But I know you guys came for the TV. So let's get back into that. So since we finished the operating systems on the QN90D and the QM8, we decided to just use the Apple TV for the rest of the comparisons so that you can see the same picture on both TVs. And watching sports right away, we noticed that the Samsung seems to have a little bit of benefits with regards to color volume and kind of just depth of the picture. When I looked on ratings.com, I noticed that the QM8 scored better in some of these tests like color gamut, color volume. But when we're looking at them side by side with similar settings, it seems like the Samsung is a little bit better in SDR. And at the same time, the Samsung just has a more even picture. The color looks better, looks more even, looks like there's better contrast, whereas the QM8 looks a little bit over brightened and doesn't have quite as much detail. But they're still both really good TVs, and if I'm watching sports on either one of these 98-inch, I'm gonna be really happy, especially since you're not gonna probably have them right next to each other to nitpick like I'm doing now. Now I have reviewed the Bravia 9, which won for Best Mini LED in 2024 at the TV Shootout, and I think that the Bravia 9 has even better color and contrast and brightness than the Samsung on the left. So we'll talk about that again more in the buying advice on which TV you should buy, but I also think the Hisense U8N will be very similar to the QM8 with regards to a very similar performance in SDR. Now when flipping over to HDR, there are a bunch of differences between these two 98-inch TVs. First, the QM8 looks a lot brighter than it did in SDR now, or at least comparatively. And some of the advantages that the QN90D had seem to have disappeared. So now they both look very good color-wise and contrast-wise, while the QM8 is definitely brighter, as you can see. And that makes sense, seeing as how the QM8 is supposed to be upwards of 4,000 to 5,000 nits, whereas the Samsung is in the 2,500 to 3,000 range. I didn't really notice it earlier, but I definitely noticed it in HDR, how the QM8 seems to outperform a little bit. Now there was one significant difference we noticed when watching HDR YouTube videos, which was that the QM8 was not as good with color banding. So we can see in a couple scenes at the top that the color transitions were a little bit rough on the QM8. And we can see on the other side that the Samsung did a really good job transitioning from different colors. But both TVs look like they process pretty evenly on other things such as upscaling and motion and things like that. So really it's just that gradient or color banding thing was the only thing that we noticed that lacked a little bit on the TCL with regards to processing. Now when it comes to gaming, both of these giant TVs are fantastic for gaming. They do have 4K 120. Again, the Samsung has 4 ports that can do it. So if you have 4 devices that you're going to connect, then there you go, you're all set. Now the QM8 only has 2 ports that do 4K 120, and then it does have the ARC eARC port on another HDMI, so you don't have to waste that if you want to hook up a soundbar and still game 4K 120. But regardless, both of these TVs are great for gaming. Big, bright, mini-LED TVs, immersive, fast, snappy response when you're doing this, game mode, VRR, all of the fun stuff that you'd want if you're playing video games in these TVs. So you really can't complain, and really what I think we should do is kind of jump into my office and look at some of the price points of these TVs so we can give you some really good buying advice. So I'm back to my desk. As I said, I'm going to get to all these TVs, including my favorite deal of this year so far. So the two that we were comparing are the QN90D here. That's $10,000 now, so that's actually even less expensive, and the 98-inch QM8, which is $4,000. So between these two, as I showed you, this is very close. I mean, they both have benefits. They both lacked a little here or there. So, it's really difficult to say spend $10,000. If you're a Samsung person and you really like this TV, I would find a vendor, get it. Obviously, you can see right here, it's not available nearby. So that's unfortunate because this price dipped down to $10,000 for the first time. However, the TCL 98-inch is $4,000 and it's available in my area. You can get it delivered. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome. I think that this is a no-brainer if you want a giant TV and you want to get one that's reasonably priced. I guess I would say $4,000 is reasonably priced for a 98-inch TV because for the most part, you were never able to get something this big, and even smaller ones were way more expensive. We're going to get into a couple ones that are more expensive than this. And if you want, we just got the 98-inch Q6. Just did a video on it. Very impressed. It's 2,000 bucks. So that makes me think even more. Would I get this or would I get the QM8 for 4,000? I mean, that's a very difficult question. I mean, if you can afford the QM8, I showed some footage. Obviously, it's brighter, it's a little better. It has dimming zones, so you get better contrast. But if that's out of your budget, I think this Q6 is a fantastic deal and I'd highly recommend it. And of course, they also have 85 all the way down to 50-inch sizes. And I made a mistake in my last video. The 85-inch also has the 120 hertz. So the rest of the sizes below that are 60 hertz, so it's a different TV. But 85-inch at 900 bucks, and this has 120 hertz for gaming and all that, is also a really good deal. So if 2,000 is too much, $899 for this, fantastic as well. And if you wanted to go up to the QM7, which is mini LED and kind of splits the difference between the Q6 and QM8, you have this at 85-inch for $1,500. And if you go to the 98-inch version of this, it's $3,000. So it's kind of nice. It's $2,000, $3,000, and $4,000 for TCL right now. And I think that makes them very difficult to beat. I guess you guys will have to let me know in the comments if it's beatable, if you would get this TV or not. And if we go to the alternatives here, you know, we have a 98-inch Sony now, and this is a really awesome TV, I have to admit. It's not a mini LED, but it's a full array local dimming. It is $6,200. Now this used to be $10,000, $13,000. So now it's down to like half the price it used to be. It's a carryover from last year, but I think it's a very good TV. And I would think that this is gonna be really awesome. Is it better than the QM8? I don't know. I mean, it has very similar features in that it has the Google TV OS. Now the QM8 is also mini LED where this is not. And if you want a mini LED from Sony, you're talking about the Bravia 7 or Bravia 9. And the Bravia 9 only goes up to 85-inch. And it's awesome. It was voted as the best mini LED TV of 2024, and I like it. I definitely think it's great if you want to get an 85-inch, although it's almost $5,000, so it's much more expensive than some of the other TVs, and you can get that 98-inch QM8 for the same price as this 85-inch Bravia 9. Now, obviously, this is probably going to be a little bit better. Similar overall brightness, but you know, this might be a little bit better of a TV, I think, in the local dimming and all that. The transition screens on this are not great, though. It does lift the background a little bit. I'm not a big fan of that. It's kind of distracting, although when you're playing content, you don't notice it. Looks amazing. Very hard to speak poorly about the Bravia 9, except for the fact that it's $5,000 for an 85-inch. And if you want to go down to the 85-inch Bravia 7, if your room is a little bit more light controlled because this doesn't have the greatest anti-reflective capabilities, but it's still really good, really bright. I mean, amazingly bright, to be honest, for the price point. This is $3,000 for 85-inch. And now, you know, 85-inch Bravia 7 mini LED versus that QM8 or QM7 would be much closer. And I think it'd be challenging, but I probably would still go with the 98-inch just because the size is what's dictating my choice there, because most of these TVs are just really good these days. And if I bump over to Hisense, we had a couple TVs in the house, the Hisense U8 and the Hisense U7. I loved both of them. So let's start with the U7 first. 75-inch is what we had, and so it's a little bit smaller, but it's $1,200. And the reason I like this is because we had the one that had the ADS panel that has better off-angle viewing. So if you get some of these other TVs I'm speaking of, the 98-inch versions, they're VA panels, which don't have the best off-angle viewing. So if you're in a really wide room and everyone's sitting on the sides, they're going to see a little bit different shot than you're seeing straight on. It's brighter straight on. It's got more color straight on. Off angle, it doesn't look quite as good. This U7 and even the U8 at $1,400, so only $200 more at 75-inch, are going to have that ADS panel, and I really like that. I mean, you can get the 85-inch sizes of these, and they're going to still be pretty good mini LEDs, but there's just something about these 75-inch that I really like. And then lastly, we have LG. They also have the QNED mini LEDs as well. Now, I haven't actually reviewed this Class 90 series one, 86-inch for $2,700. It's a pretty good price point, so I'd be excited to see how good it is. It does have 4K 120. It does have a lot of great features, you know, so I can't really give you my advice on this. I just say give it a look, check it out. Hopefully we can get one of these in the house here to review soon, because I think LG has come a long way with the QNED TVs as well. And so we kind of recap before I get to my favorite TV this year, and I just have to say there's a lot of great choices. You have all kinds of size choices, you have all kinds of quality choices. I mean, these Q6s are really nice. The QM7, which I haven't reviewed, also really good price point, and I know it's going to have quality because the QM8, the Q6, very good. QM7 is right in the middle of it. And I saw it at CES, so we know it's pretty good. And of course, I'm definitely a fan of these Hisense TVs. I made a video that was Hisense versus TCL where I said, you know, both of them have come a long ways. So if you're looking at getting a 75-inch, I'd really recommend those two Hisense models that I was speaking of. And of course, if you're talking Samsung, they've been doing doing mini LED TVs very well for many years here. So again, we have the 85-inch version of the one that we had, $3,500. They also have the QN85D, which is one step below 85-inch for $2,300. So a lot of different opportunities to get these. Typically, the QN85D is really good. The QN90D is really good. You saw the 98-inch version of that, which we really liked. So Samsung doing great. All these different companies are doing these TVs very well. But if I had to tell you what I think would probably be the best deal for 98-inch or even 85-inch, I might say it's the Q6. And that's because it is the direct lit version of this TV that doesn't have like a lot of dimming zones to kind of trip you up if you don't like to see that blooming, but at the same time, it has a 120 hertz panel in both the 85-inch and the 98-inch. And this is $2,000 for a 98-inch Q6, which is very unbeatable for that size of a TV. The closest thing we have is maybe the Hisense U8N which is like $3,000, or actually this QM7, which is $3,000. And at the same time, it's really good. I like it. And I don't think many people would be disappointed. And if you even go down to the 85-inch, $900 for an 85-inch that has a lot of the features that you'd want out of a TV is fantastic. So really tough to beat the Q6 this year. I think TCL knows what they're doing when it comes to big TVs. And yes, the Bravia 9 is a little bit better for sure. And it's really awesome and I like it. And you know, there was some really nice things about the Samsung 98-inch here, the QN90D, but you know, we can't get that, and if you can, it's $10,000. And I even like the QM8, of course, but that's $4,000, twice the price. So you guys have a lot of great options. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What is the best TV? What's the best mini LED TV, the big one, the one that you guys are gonna get to watch sports and all that? And make sure to check out the links on the Galaxy Watch and the Galaxy Ring. Very cool products. And make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so we can keep bringing you awesome content like this. I wanna thank Best Buy for sponsoring this video. I'll see you on the next one.